Welcome back. It is Wednesday, September 27th, and the MLB. Our four favorite picks are on the way. It's Austin, joined by Logan. Let's recap yesterday. You guys should know what our record was. It was another 2-in-1 day. That feels like the last 10 days. I think we've had 7 or 8 2-in-1 days. Let's talk about Mariners. First 5 run line. They got that done pretty easily. They racked Christian Javier. We'll take it. Nationals Orioles under 4.5 in the first 5. Sweat free. There was only 1 run. It was scored in the first inning. Nerfy bettors out there are in pain because that was the only run of the whole game. That's why we don't do Nerfies. I saw some comment ask yesterday, why don't you guys do Nerfies? Yeah, just look at that game. That's why we don't do them anymore. And then Padres Giants over 8.5. There is a chance you went 2-0 because we did get a pitcher change in that game, which we obviously did not want. We wanted Kyle Harrison out there, but either way, the Giants are a terrible offense. I don't think the Padres, even if Kyle Harrison was out there, they would hit the over by themselves. But a 2-in-1 day, we will take it. Now, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we got 4 picks, so no 2-in-1 day inbound, but our fourth play, we're not going to talk about it in this video, but it is our Dimers Hit Parlay. We do one every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Once you look at the calendar, it's a Wednesday. We really like this one, so we're going to track it at a half unit. It is plus 198 on Bet365, so if you want to tail it, it's going to be linked, top link in description. I'll let you know one of the legs is going to be our friend Austin Riley. You're going to have to check out the other 2 legs. They're down below, top link in description. Go check it out. Show some love to the Dimers Hit Parlay. 3 players each to get a hit. But Logan, we're both rocking Phillies jerseys today in honor of them not only clinching their wild card spot yesterday, but in honor of also you taking a pitcher prop today. Which pitcher are you going to?
Yeah, I'm in the K market, which is a rare market for me to ever dabble in, but I'm taking Ranger Suarez of the Phillies over 5.5 strikeouts, plus 110 odds on BetMGM, currently your best value there. Now, we've conquered most markets for this year. We didn't really conquer Nerfies. We let Nerfy Nation kind of go to hell. But the KProp market is a market that has just kind of it's eaten me over the last few years. It's a really tough market to bet in. And I always see the comments. Trust me, we read most of the comments that are asking for K-props. Well, here's a K-prop. Let's see how we do. It's the last week of the season, and I'm getting plus 110 value on it. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and take a stab on this one. I like Ranger Suarez matchup against the Pirates today. You look at Ranger Suarez at home, 4.99 ERA and a 1.34 WHIP. Those numbers could be better. Ranger Suarez has had a pretty much up and down year, but he was instrumental to the Phillies World Series run last year. If you remember watching playoff baseball, you remember how many, tough spots they needed Ranger Suarez to pitch out of, and he did. He got them to the World Series. He was a big key to their playoff run. I think once again they're going to use this game as a game to try to get him into good form to head into the playoffs, to pitch into the playoffs, because they need him in good form for this run, and I doubt they're going to yank him early. That's kind of what I worry about, with teams that have already clinched. Like, what incentive do they have to go out and let their pitcher pitch 6+ innings? Well, like I said, if Ranger Suarez is going out there and pitching efficiently, I don't see why they should yank him in this game. Now, in 20 plate appearances, the Pirates only hitting 158 against Ranger Suarez with a 20% K rate. So again, they're not hitting him all that well. Look at the Pirates stats versus left-handed pitchers. Over the last month, the Pirates are 3rd in K rate versus lefties, and over the last 2 weeks, the Pirates are 2nd in K rate at 33.9% versus lefties, and 3rd in K rate versus lefties on the road, 35.1%. All this to say, against lefties, that's when you want to take a K prop against the Pirates, because I've seen them go into swing and a miss mode, a ton. And you look at Suarez, he has went over this line in each of his last 3 home starts. He's one of those pitchers I just think pitches a lot more comfortably at home, even if the numbers don't necessarily say so. The eyeball test from being a Phillies fan tells me Ranger Suarez at home, that's when I kind of want to back him for a K-prop. I don't normally take these, but I think the value is certainly there today. Hopefully in those 0-2 counts, he can get the 3rd pitch to swing and a miss and cash this one for us today. But Austin, you got another prop for us? Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm actually going to a pitcher prop. And before we dive into it, obviously pitcher props the last week of the season can be a little bit volatile, but we really like that spot. I really like it for Suarez, and I really like it for this guy. We're asking to go in 6 innings pitch. Let's talk about it. Framber Valdez of the Houston Astros over 17.5 outs, minus 125 on Bet365. This was minus 105, but the line is moving pretty quickly. I'd probably play it up to, I don't know, maybe minus 140. We don't really like taking more juice than that, and I don't think it goes higher than that, but it could, because this outs prop, like I said, was minus 105 right as we're typing up our notes, and then it switched to minus 125, which I'll track for you guys. But let's talk about Framber Valdez. And like I said, there is a potential here, and like Logan kind of touched on, it is the last week of the season. This is a big game for the Astros as they're going up against the Mariners in a rubber match here. And obviously, the Astros need a win here. So there is a chance that we see maybe Framber Valdez throws 5 innings, great. Then the 6th inning comes out a little shaky, that he could be taken out early. But I really do think the Astros need a solid 6 innings pitched out of him today, especially after yesterday. Christian Javier only 4 2/3. They had to use 4 bullpen arms. They don't really have a lot more bullpen arms left in the tank. They really would like to see Framber go out there, throw 6 innings pitched, and then use the other 3 guys to go 1 inning each, and then they're out of there with hopefully a win for the Astros in their case. But let's talk about Framber Valdez, because on the year, you look at the stats: 3.42 ERA, a 1.15 WHIP, and a 2.21 batting average allowed on the road. At home, his stats are relatively the same: 3.35 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, and a 2.31 batting average allowed. So look, Framber, actually, if you were to look at, I don't know if he has any incentives in his contract, and I doubt the Astros are worried about that, but he is actually 6 innings pitched on the dot away from throwing 2 innings pitched on the season, which would be his second career season with 200 or more innings pitched. But I don't think the Astros are worried about that, even if there is an incentive in there. I'm sure if Valdez goes out there and pitches well, they'll probably give him the incentive money anyways. But it is something that maybe Framber's looking at and be like, man, I need to go out there and get over 200 innings pitched. But either way, I really do like his matchup today against the Mariners, because the Mariners obviously have seen him a good amount. You look at him: 135 plate appearances versus Valdez, a 23.7 K percentage. So I don't hate his KProp, which is set to 6.5, which is pretty high. And he had a 230 expected batting average. Now, you look at his last start for Seattle, which was about, I think, on August 17th or so. He went 5 innings pitched, 10 hits, 6 earned runs allowed. He had actually thrown 6+ innings pitched in his previous 6 starts for Seattle. So he's now 6 of 7 towards this line. They had his number that game, but if you think about all of August, the Mariners had literally anyone as number. If anyone, the best pitcher in the MLB, if you threw out there against him, they were hitting the ball, the cover off the baseball. Obviously, this Mariners offense has cooled off since then. They had a good showing yesterday, got those timely hits, but we've talked about this all year long. The Mariners are not a team you can trust to consistently get those timely hits. And this is a guy in Valdez that has elite stuff, elite weak contact stuff, elite ground ball stuff, elite to get those, those ground balls, those double plays, those get out of jams. That's what he's been able to do basically his whole career. And we've seen him step up, especially in the postseason. And I think this will be no different. And Seattle is struggling versus lefties. The last 7 days, they're 25th in batting average at .170. The fact that there's more teams below them when they're battling a 170 against lefties the last 7 days is terrible, but 25th in OPS too. They have a higher than average, walk percentage against lefties, but I don't think Valdez is walking a ton of guys here today. He throws strikes, gets that weak contact, and I like him to do his thing. I mean, you're talking about Framber, a guy that we just faded. You remember us? We took Bobby Witt Jr. and Royals team total over against him just a couple days ago, and that was sweat free. He's coming off a terrible start. I expect him to be better today as he gets ready, hopefully for a postseason run for the Astros. Valdez throwing 6+ innings pitched or over 17.5 outs in 23 of 30 starts. On the road, been very good, 12 of 14 starts to this number. There's only been one time this year where he didn't go back-to-back starts throwing at least 6 innings pitched. He rarely has back-to-back bad starts. In fact, if you look at his starts when he's given up 6 earned runs, which he just gave up against the Royals, the next start, he's throwing a couple no-hitters. He threw his no-hitter right after a 6 innings pitched start. He threw a 7 innings pitched no-hitter once. He just obviously walked more batters than that and didn't make it 9 innings pitched. But look, last season, if you watch the Astros, they had Framber, and he was an absolute monster for him. He had 4 starts against them. He was dialed in the postseason. I expect him to get ready to go. He always has performed in the biggest spots most normally, and I expect him to do that today in a big rubber match against the Mariners. We'll take Framber to go 6 innings pitched or his over 17.5 outs. Minus 125, I think, is a great price. But Logan, I'll let you wrap it up with our third pick of the video. Where are we going?
Yeah, we're going to the Reds and Guardians game, and I'm taking the under 8 runs in this one, minus 115 odds on DraftKings, currently your best value there. Now, again, we're picking a total in this one, and I do like the under here. Coming off a combined 18 runs yesterday, I think we see a total set to 7.5 on some books, 8 on DraftKings, so obviously I'm going to take the 8 on DraftKings. We're taking the cues from the books that this one should be a lower scoring game and should go under. And I do like the starting pitching we're going to get today. Now it's Shane Bieber going for the Guardians, 3.66 ERA and a 1.31 WHIP at home. The fact that Bieber's outline is minus 170 juice on the over 17.5 outs means he should have an efficient outing. Also, let's do some line reading on his props, like we did yesterday. Reading the Astros game, and I told you Christian Javier was going to have a bad game, and he did. Bieber's earned run line is set to minus 115 odds on the over under 2.5, which he's actually went over this line quite often. Bieber has allowed 4 earned runs in 5 out of his last 6 starts dating back to before his injury. So honestly, it's one of those things where I think the books are kind of pricing this one as saying we're going to get a pretty solid Shane Bieber showing. Now, if you look at Shane Bieber, it's kind of a weird situation because he was injured, and I was like, well, there's no way the Guardians bring him back this year. They're bringing him back. I don't know why. But I cannot figure it out. The Guardians are not in contention. And this is actually going to be an interesting matchup versus the Reds, because in 38 plate appearances against Bieber, the Reds are only hitting 235. I think Bieber definitely wants to go out and end the season on a good note. And I think he's actually going to pretty much cook the Reds today. We know at home, this is where he's been pitching well over the last few seasons, and now that he's hopefully had one start under his belt after injury, this one should be more polished, and I think he goes out and pitches a good game today. Now, who's starting for the Reds? It's Andrew Abbott, 3.94 ERA and a 1.56 WHIP on the road. The WHIP is a little bit high, for me on the road, but we look at Andrew Abbott. The last time he faced the Guardians in August, he went 5 innings, pitched 2 earned runs allowed, which if he duplicates that today, I'll certainly live with that for sure. He just can't go out there and be catastrophic, like 4+ earned runs, which he hasn't been. Abbott is entering this game in good form, 2 earned runs or less in 3 out of his last 4 starts. So Andrew Abbott should be in line for a pretty solid showing today. The Guardians, though, this is really what we love to see. The Guardians are terrible versus lefties lately. Cleveland's only hitting .051 against lefties in their last 3 games. That is not even 100. That is pretty dang bad. And you know what? Cleveland, we know they have several lefty bats to deploy in their lineups, like the Kwans, the Nailers, etc. But Abbott is really tough on lefties, only allowing a 158 batting average to lefties. So that should hopefully neutralize a lot of Cleveland's offense today. And if we go to the bullpens, over the last week, Cleveland 14th in bullpen ERA, Cincinnati 28th in bullpen ERA. Obviously, I would like those numbers to be a little bit better for Cincinnati, but if those bullpen stats scare you, just take the first 5 under. I just like taking the full game under because there is more wiggle room. We see fluke stuff happen all the time in the first 5 innings, unders where, an error or any garbage. Because when you have a total set this low, your margin for error on the first 5 is just not all that high. So again, I do think the full game under is the way to go. I think we're going to go ahead and cash that one.
Yeah, no, Logan, I really love it. I talked about when you texted me this morning, I was like, this is a pretty good spot. I think the lefties will struggle versus Abbott. And Abbott also a guy in a rookie year, probably his final start of the year, probably wants to go into the offseason with a little bit of positive momentum. I know he had a great start to his career. His first 3 or 4 starts were dialed in. It's been a little bit more shaky the last, couple months, but I think he'll pitch pretty well today. Shane Bieber should hold it down, and let's hope for a low-scoring game. Maybe if we could get a duplication of the Nationals-Orioles game, we would consider that a win. 1-0. That's ideal. But those are our 3 favorite picks of the day. Our 4th pick, as I talked about, Dimers hit Parlay. I'll link it on the screen once it is live. It's already been sent to them. We're just waiting for them to edit the website and post it. Once it is posted, I'll post the link right here, and I'll post it in the description and in the pinned comment. A 3-leg hit Parlay plus 198 odds. We're not taking any player in the early game, so it's all 6:30 p.m. or later. Go check it out. We appreciate you as always. Let's go 4-0. Bring out the brooms. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow, hopefully with another winning day. We'll see you guys then. Peace.